Good morning and welcome to Kramer's Corner with daily technical updates. It is Friday, the 11th of October, and today we'll have a look at the Asian markets, especially Hong Kong-based or Hong Kong and China stocks. Here we have the Hang Seng. That's on the daily charts. A few days ago, it was, I believe it was Monday. It was the 8th of October. So it formed this bearish engulfing pattern here, and also a doji evening-like pattern, the top and reversal. And it dipped also down to this gap area here, 2,321. That also goes all the way back to really far back, around August last year, and also earlier that year over the summer in June. If it does close the gap here at 19,924, then expect the Hang Seng index to dip lower and also below 19,000. But it is in a bullish trend as long as it stays above, especially 19,924. It could bounce further in coming days. The FTSE China. Oh, I have to say that Hong Kong is closed Friday. It's due to bank holiday, so we can see that the CFD is actually trading the 14th of October, and it is basically unchanged. The FTSE A50. Well, also massive sell-off here. This is the future we are looking at. It didn't get all the way down to the 61.8 retracement at 13,087, but it could test it here in the going into next week, and then we'll probably see a bounce. If it takes out the lows here at 13,302, well, then we could see a push below 13,000 down to 12,197 possibly. S&P 500 was a little bit lower yesterday, but the uptrend is intact. There's still potential up to 5,800 plus 5,825, or maybe even to 5,860, which will be 2% of this little corrective phase here. There is a divergence building on the RSI, but it is in a bullish trend. The Nasdaq 100 index, well, more or less the same picture. It was a little bit lower yesterday, but I think we could see it pushing a little bit higher here in the coming weeks towards all-time high at 20,675. If it does slide back and close below 20,040, well, then expect downtrend to be the scenario. EUROSTOXX 50 is really struggling. Yes, it tried to get back above 49.86, 87, but got knocked down again yesterday, testing the upper falling trend line, and a little bit of support here, and we can zoom in at 49.43. If it takes out to the upside, it takes out 49.90. Let's see the highest here, 49.87. Well, then we are likely to see EUROSTOXX 50 pushing towards these levels above 5,077. The DAX index, well, paused a little bit also yesterday. It has reached 61.8 retracement at the downtrend here at 19,207, or not really the downtrend, the corrective phase. If it takes out 18,911, then expect further selling pressure below 18,000, possibly 18,747, maybe even lower. But for now, I stick to my positive attitude on the indices. AX Amsterdam, on the other hand, is it did not perform well yesterday. It closed down 0.5%, but the worrying thing is now we are back below 908. If it could continue lower towards 807 area. If it can close back above this kind of pivot point here, which it seems like it's not going to do, well, then we could see a push up towards 927, maybe even higher. The CAC index, well, still really not much to say. As long as they above 74.64, there's a chance that it will be bouncing towards 77.25. The Swiss CFD, well, here we have the actual index. It opened above 12,120, only to close below, meaning we are still in a negative sentiment on both the actual chart and the RSI, and we can see it sliding lower in the coming days. Euro dollar spiked lower yesterday and bounced a little bit back. We're still about 108.80 key support, but we also have the 200 moving average coming up, giving some support. We are in a negative sentiment, so we could still see it being tested. If it takes it out, well, then there's risk down to 108. If we move back above 109.50, we could see a bounce up to 110, and I would say we go into bullish mode if we move back above 110. The euro sterling, well, sliding slowly lower, and I think we could see it testing 83.50, 83.40 here in the coming days. But if it takes out 84.10 to the upside, then we could see a push higher towards 84.60, 65. And we have a cable that is currently dancing around above 130. I think we will see a bounce. What is key, we have the RSI still above 40, meaning that we could, if it stays above 40, then we're likely to see a bounce in cable. Dollar yen, well, rejected at 149.40, second day in a row. If it moves back below 147.20, I think we will see downtrend resuming, but RSI is still positive, no divergence, likely to push higher towards 150, 151.85, maybe even higher. But it really needs to take out the spike up here from yesterday at 149.40. The Euro yen sideways, trading between 164 and 161. Breakout of this is required for any direction. The Aussie yen, well, Aussie yen also sideways trading around 100, a little bit above, a little bit below. I want to see it break above 101.80 or below 98 for direction. Sterling yen, also range bound for now here between 196 and the 191.70. Breakout from that, it will give a guide of the direction in the coming weeks. Aussie dollar bouncing up just above the 786 retracement at 67, just above the 100 moving average, and I think it will resume uptrend. RSI still positive, didn't close below 40 threshold, and likely to push towards 68. Dollar Canada, oh, didn't update, sorry about that. Dollar Canada, here we are, pushed higher, spiked almost up to 161.8 retrace projection at 137.88. I think it will push higher here in the coming weeks. We should expect a correction anytime soon. We are a little bit stressed on the RSI, but there's no divergence, so it will probably just be a correction if we suddenly move down. But I think we will touch 138 before we see a correction, then we can move higher after that. The Sterling Canada is still the same picture here. We talked about it yesterday. It is back above the lower falling trend line. Seems like a false break, and key support still 176.80. The Euro Swiss, well, testing the lower rising trend line, dipped a little bit below. If it breaks out bearish, we could see a push towards 93. That's the first support, but then there will be room down to 92.5, 90 if it breaks out bearish, which I believe it will. We have a negative sentiment on the RSI. It's broken below its lower rising trend line. If it breaks below and close below 40 on the RSI, well, it will support the bearish trend has resumed. The dollar Swiss, well, the 61.8 retracement at 86.05 is still holding on. Can't really break above that. The RSI is still negative. Didn't close above 60 threshold. If it moves back below 85.40, then I think the downtrend will resume. The dollar index, well, seems to, it spiked higher yesterday to just below 103. And we could see a bit of a little bit of a correction here in the coming days. And just let's assume this is at least very short term at the peak. We can say, okay, maybe we'll get a correction down to around 102 over the next week or so. The gold spots here, oh, sorry, we need to move on. It has bounced off 2,600. It come only a few cents or a few dollars to touch it. And the lower rising trend line bounced off. And now we seems to be resuming bullish trend. And I think we could see gold making a move towards 2,700. If RSI also closes back above 60 threshold, let's remove this one back. If it closes back above 60 threshold, it will support the bullish trend, and there's no divergence on the RSI. The silver actually bounced from the 50% of the entire uptrend there, and just around the 786 retracement at 30.35. The other one was 30.20. We are now back above $31. I think we will see silver bouncing to towards 32. Whether it will get up all the way there, it's in the cards. Can it take out short term the previous peak? I doubt it, but medium term I'm fairly bullish. If it takes out the lows here from a couple of days ago at 30.10, then expect the correction lower. It is likely to continue. And copper, finally, when we're talking about metals, copper is bouncing off the 440 and 441, and the 100 moving average that is declining. So it's a little bit unusual to see that, but still it does that. However, there is still a risk down to around 432.70, the 61 rate retracement in a correction, and then a bounce. I'm fairly bullish on the medium term to longer term trend, so I think it will bounce eventually. On the energy market, we have WTI that bounced off, WTI crude oil that bounced off the support here at 72.40, and I think we could see a push up here in the coming days towards the previous peaks around 77.60, 78.45, maybe even all the way up to $80. If it takes out once again the support here at 72.40, then I think a downtrend will rule. Brent crude oil also bouncing from the 75.58, but there's strong overhead resistance here at 81.58. Finally, let's have a look at the US Treasury yields. We have the US 10-year Treasury yield spiking higher yesterday, just below resistance at 439. I think we should see a correction, at least a minor one, that could take it the US 10-year Treasury yields down below 40. Down below 4%, possibly down to 3.92. We still have the 55 moving average dragging on it a little bit, but we are in a bullish trend, a positive sentiment. Sorry about that. I had a cough. Sorry. So yeah, we could see it dipping below 4%, and let's say maybe this is short term at least the peak. Well, 38.2 is just around 3.92. It is not unlikely we would see a correction down to around that level there, if we assume this is the peak at least short term. There's no divergence on the RSI indicating we are likely to see higher yields on the 10-year after correction. Correction seems to have started in the 2-year Treasury yields, also with a spike up there as we speak. It is actually starting a little bit lower today. I think we could slide back to a 380, which is the 38.2 retracement of the uptrend right there. All right, that's all for today. Have a nice day and a nice weekend. When we get to there, well, let's talk again Monday.